Hello, everyone. I am here with Jill and Terry, two of my favorite people. One of whom is related, one of whom I wish that she was related. So
Yes, I know. I have to adopt you.
I'm okay with that. We're going to ask a couple of questions just about how they met each other and what they're up to right now. Just kind of let everybody get to know them a little bit more. So first off, how did you become friends?
Do you want to take this one, or do you
Yeah, I was
want me
going to
to?
say, who gets to go first? We became friends when we both ended up on the launch team for Jen Hatmaker's book, For the Love. And we started kind of getting to know each other online through that group. And we met when we were in Austin at her house. And we just hit it off because, I mean, who wouldn't love Terri? So basically, that's the
She's
story.
witty, and she reads, and she's bright. So.
And then we went to England together and had a blast.
Oh my gosh.
So
that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some great pictures.
I remember coming up to you at her in her yard at Jen Hatmaker's, and just like, you must be Jill. It was so weird because we knew each other, or the whole group, by people's Facebook profile. So then it was like, wonder if they're gonna look the same, or I could just see somebody.
And it was
the
dark.
Online personality.
It was dark, so I'm walking up to random people, kind of getting right in their face or staring at their name tag, going,
"Yeah, I think that's what it was. You were like right in my face." I'm like, "You must be Jill."
That sounds like something she'd do.
It was actually kind of terrifying to
to show up. It was to show up with that many people you'd never met and stay together in Austin. We're like, you're staying with people you've never met? Like, yeah.
So what is helping you two during the COVID-19 crisis? How are you changing your normal routine, and what's kind of helping you through this?
You want to go first?
Your turn.
Yeah, Terri,
okay.
It's your turn.
So I think initially, initially it was shock, right? Because we're just like, are we really here? Like, even every now and then it still hits me like that. But I reread Anne of Green Gables because I was like, I need something comforting and familiar. And I think reading has been helpful. I think prayer, memorizing a couple of Psalms, so that when I start asking the what ifs about my parents in New York or that sort of thing, I just like, no, you need to change direction. Mm-hmm. And my husband and I are doing puzzles. Okay, I wish I owned a puzzle company because they are like going for $50 on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making out okay. Let's see, going for walks once in a while. I don't know, that class is helping. Being back in class is helping, even though it feels like I have COVID-19 cobweb brain. So it's like some days are just better than others.
I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yep. It is trauma, and it is real.
Yeah.
And it's disruption to everything.
Yeah.
And uncertainty about if anything's ever going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was really struggling initially, and I was like, why is my anxiety so high? And a trauma therapist who's in my cohort at seminary sent me a video, and she said, I sent this out to my clients, but maybe it'll help you. And it was like, well, this is kind of a traumatic experience, and probably you're re-triggered by a lot of the uncertainty and fear. And I was like, oh, okay, that was helpful, because
makes sense.
I hadn't made the connection.
Yeah. I think for me, like, my routine hasn't changed that much. I've always worked from home. I have a sidekick now because my daughter's working from home. And for a while that was like disruptive, but now we've gotten into into a groove, and it really does help me to have her here, because the first couple of weeks of being totally alone all the time were hard.
Yeah.
I think what helps me a lot is that community. When I look online and I talk to people online and I see all the people who want to really support those of us who are immunocompromised, and I hear them saying, we're here for you, we want to do whatever we can for you. I see my family doing, sacrificing so that I don't get sick, and that can't help but make me feel like this is this is my support. This is how I'm getting helped. Talking to my church people on Zoom every week. So that's it for me, the support system, I guess.
My introversion is going to a whole new level.
What inspires you most about the other person? So Jill, we'll let you go first this time.
What inspires me most about Terri, she is tenacious and wanting to learn and wanting to know things and not settling for easy answers. She just keeps going and going, and she grabs a hold of some bone that she wants to know about, and she just won't quit. And I love that about her. I love that she wants
I'm
to
basically a bulldog.
She is a bulldog. She is the quietest bulldog you've ever met.
Oh gosh. Thank you. There's so many things I love about Jill that you inspire me, and I always feel like I leave your presence or your writing being a better person. But you live out your faith authentically, and you're so compassionate and so hospitable and faithful, and you take those things seriously. And you're witty and sarcastic, which is a huge bonus in my book. So
Thank you.
Look at the smiles. So what are each of you learning about church and the church? What do you miss, and what kind of opportunities do you see coming out of this pandemic?
Well, Jill, do you want to go first? I keep asking you that.
Well, the funny thing for me is that the things I hope come out of this are the things I was already working on, the visions that I was already having for what church should be. So not saying that this is a good thing that this has happened, but I think it's going to shape the church in very positive ways that I was hoping were going to come anyway. That I think we're learning to be smaller. We're learning to band together and be more effective. We're learning to cross lines of denomination and whatever and say, hey, we just need to help people together, which, wouldn't that be awesome if we continue doing that? Because that's the church. I think, seeing people like as I've been working on interactive learning instead of just preaching to people, and being able to do that on Zoom now. I think other people are doing that on Zoom now, and I think that's really positive. So I'm seeing a lot of smaller, more cohesive, more energized things coming out of it that are a great asset to the church.
That's good. I love that. And I really like that about your church community, how interactive it is. So I attended church, and I really like the preacher, but what this has shown me is because we watched church last week, and it was like, this just isn't this. It's informative and it's thought-provoking, but it's not transformational for me. Like engaging with other people is. We do that in our life group on Sunday nights more, but so it's kind of reorienting me of what would be good for us going forward. But I love the interaction. It builds community and vulnerability, which is hard for me, but
Yeah, I don't think
You'd
anybody
expect.
likes vulnerability.
No,
Well,
but
Brene Brown likes talking
yeah.
about it, but I'm like, okay, well, I want to see you model that
Brene
because
Brown is a very healthy 8.
yes, yes, she is. I'm like, I'd rather hear her talk about being vulnerable than me actually being vulnerable. It says a lot. Probably everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, you're right. I see that in our church when we chat, and I see a new level of vulnerability, and because this crisis is making people just be real and put it out there, and I think that is so positive, and I see our church, really being there for each other.
So are you doing Zoom on Sunday mornings and not Facebook Live?
We're doing both.
Oh, okay.
So people who are not members of the church can watch Facebook Live, and people who are attend the Zoom meeting and chat.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, that's both.
Yeah, and we've checked, and you can hear the other people on Zooms through the Facebook Live. She's surrounded by cameras all the time. She's just got paparazzi around
like
her.
Oprah.
She's Oprah, making her own mess.
Until the cats walk, in front of the computer.
I know. Right.
Yeah. Well, they're the real stars, let's be honest.
Right. They rule the world. We're just here to serve them.
Uh-huh. Okay, so obviously you both love to travel. You both went to the United Kingdom together. Where would you most like to go together next? Pending, COVID-19 being over anytime in the near future.
Yes. There's so many places I would like to go. I would love to go back to England together. That was such a good trip. I would love to go to the Pacific Northwest, like Vancouver and that area, and kayak in a little, not in the ocean necessarily, but the bay stores.
So this is why you guys are such good friends, because you basically have the same dreams. Cool.
I would like to live in England for a year.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
After this is over and they get a new prime minister.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I thought about that, I thought, oh, I know the perfect trip because Terri loves mountains and I love oceans. So it's been one of my dreams to take the train that goes through the Canadian Rockies in the fall.
Oh, yes.
So I thought,
to go on that with you.
We could fly into Vancouver and spend a while with you there, and then we could take the train, and then we'd have both.
Oh, that would be awesome. Let's do it.
The last question is, what have you both been reading lately?
Oh, I left my books on the couch. I have to go get them.
Jill,
run,
go get them. Hurry. Let's see. I have been reading, I read The Story of Arthur True Love before seminary began, and that was a good story. But most of my reading right now is church history and the Reformation, and doing a paper on the different views of the Eucharist, like with Luther and Calvin and a couple others. So interesting stuff. I love church history. I'm fascinated by it. The first 1,000 years was last semester, and I was like, it's amazing that we survived. And now I'm like, in the Reformation, I'm like, it's still amazing that we survived as a church.
Yeah.
And then my husband and I are reading aloud to each other, which we haven't done in a while, but we're doing the Narnia series again. Like,
I love that.
1,000th time. So we're on the silver chair. So. How about you, Jill?
Yeah, it's funny. You said you were reading Anne of Green Gables for comfort, and I was binging Jane Austen, so same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. Yep. But other than that, I think I brought out the 2 most recent books I read, so I would remember. I read Benjamin Corey's Unafraid, Moving Beyond Fear-Based Faith. So it was really a good analysis of our history and how the Christian church has turned into what really is a fear, the evangelical church in America anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Fear-based faith, and how he got out of that. And so, it was really good for me to learn to learn more of, okay, how did this happen? Why did we end up like this? So that was good.
Where does he say it started?
In dispensationalism, which makes sense.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because when your faith is built on waiting for an angry God to come back and destroy the world, you tend to live in fear and anger. So, yeah.
Or just disconnect from that totally.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the whole we don't really care about this earth or justice or anything else comes from, because it's all gonna burn. So yeah.
You want to show the cover since you brought them out?
I will. Okay. Here's the cover.
Oh, okay.
Pretty yellow cover. And the last book I read was this one, The God Who Sees by Karen Gonzalez, and she is a immigrant from Guatemala, and so she talked about it's a great weaving of her story and what she went through, and also the realities of nonfiction, the realities of immigration in this country and what the laws are and what the rules are and how people are abused by it. And so, that was super good. And I'm going to read Madeleine L'Engle's Walking on Water, because I've had that one on my club for a long time. I really want to read it.
Yeah.
So it's on my next
I've heard it's really good.
So that ends my questions. You guys can chill out. I'm gonna leave because my computer is dying and we only have 4 minutes left with 3 people. So
it's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too.